Hey everybody, welcome back to the Dancing Sober podcast once again. Thank you so much for joining us. I want to give a shout out, of course, to our number one sponsor, Movita Juice Bar. I want to thank them so much for being our sponsor since day one. Go to movitajuicebar.com so you could look for locations. You can also order from the food apps like Uber Eats, etc. They have juices, they have smoothies, they have acai bowls, and they also have like 21-day smoothie diet kits and stuff like that. Look them up, movitajuicebar.com. Our new sponsor now, welcome on board, is Picaresca Cafe. Picaresca Cafe is a little spot in Boyle Heights if you're around the Olympic and Soto area. They're inside a little shopping center there. Tiny little place. They're pretty awesome. They don't have a kitchen there, but they do get food brought in every day, and pan dulce is brought in every day that they sell there. And they make a really good cup of coffee, and they have, of course, all of your flavored coffees and all of those blended coffees things. I'm a straight coffee guy. Give me an Americano and I'm happy. So picaresca.cafe on Instagram. Look them up. They also have a website, Picaresca Cafe. They are in Boyle Heights. I want to remind you to check out Felix Quintana's show at Residency Art. This is in Inglewood, and the show is called Cruising Below Sunset, and that show ends on July 16th. So please, if you get a chance, head out there and check out this show and check out the gallery. Both Felix and Rick, the curator of the gallery, have been on this show, and big shout out to both of them. Don't forget, if you want to do your own podcast, go to outercirclemedia.com and hit them up. Make your appointment. Today's guest. We have been having a lot of guests that are artists and musicians and a few actors here and there. And today's guest, again, is an actress. She has been acting almost all of her life. Give it up for Chelsea Rendon. Let's get into it. Hey, everybody. Welcome back once again to the Dancing Sober podcast. And it is a true honor to have this young woman in front of me here. Chelsea Rendon.
Hey.
Actriz sensacional. And just all around little badass right now. I mean,
yeah, Chingona vibes all day.
Seriously, you do though. Like, you do have Chingona vibes, because the other day when I met you, it was a golf course full of a bunch of dudes, all, all peacocking, all loud and, borrachos, and you come in and you control this.
Yeah, I don't know if that's just Chingona vibes or just Chelsea vibes or the way my mama raised me vibes. Yeah. But also I'm very type A. So I manda. You know what I mean? Like, I just do. Like, literally, I could be the youngest of all my friends and I plan it or I set things up. Or I'm like, hey guys, let's go. And then they're like, what? And I'm like, let's go. So that's
I'm going to guess, are you a Leo?
No.
Damn, what?
I'm a Pisces.
Oh, Pisces, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know a lot about Pisces.
I'm very emotional. Very sentimental, I feel a lot.
Yeah. I feel you on that. So it was cool to meet you the other day, and honestly, I appreciate you agreeing to come over here and sit with us and talk with us for an hour, just by meeting me.
Of course. Yeah, I'm like, you won't be able to shut me up. Just watch.
So I like to start by asking people a little bit about, their background and stuff, and then we'll get more into your career and what you're doing now and what you have in the future. So
cool.
Let's start with where's Chelsea from?
So I am born and raised in LA, one of the few. Born and raised in Montebello, East LA. So I lived mostly in Montebello, but again, all of my family and friends and stuff would be in East LA, so I would always be around. Yeah. I still go to El Mercadito as often as I can, because I'm like, I need an elote from my same señora, but she doesn't really work there a lot anymore. Yeah. She's there maybe once a week. But yeah, I'm like,
it's like a soul recharge.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. And so I went to Montebello High School, same as Edward James Olmos. Yes,
same
Oilers.
As Alfred Robles also.
Oh yeah, we had that conversation. Yeah. And I think Jay Hernandez too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They're friends, yeah.
Yeah. Very, very proud. Can I cuss?
Yeah.
Okay, fuck sure. I'm just trying to say real quick. I'm like, that shit's still in my blood. It's I guess kind of the same way the Bulldogs and the Rough Riders have that. You know, my mom went to Garfield, so she's a Bulldog, so I have to hate.
I still go to the
Roosevelt.
games as much as I can, but now I get to be on the field and shoot.
Oh, dope.
Which is pretty awesome, being on the field with those games.
Oh, yeah. No, I was a water girl for my football team.
Oh, nice.
So I used to always be on the football team.
Totally see that. Like, you have that energy to be out there. Here, I'm gonna.
Yeah. No, I literally got in a car accident, and the next day was the game. And my back, like, it was like the next day body stiffness. But, you know, I will say, like, this is what the team said, not me, but I don't not agree. But there was 3 water girls, and I was the only water girls. The other 2 girls were water hose. What? So, like, they didn't really do anything. So I'm literally like, yo, you guys need to do it today. And I still had to be running back and forth to the field, like, with the messed up body. You know what I mean? Like,
wow.
And luckily, thank God, I have a bad sense of smell, because I would be in the school bus. You know what I mean? Like, back and forth, or I'd be in the locker room or the weight room, and like I'm like, I don't really smell nothing.
Those things stink. They really stink. Wow, what a trip. Did you go to elementary schools who were around there?
Yeah. I went to La Merced Elementary and Intermediate, so LMI and LME. And I was in the drama program at LME. Or no, LMI, sorry. I'm like LMP.
Yeah.
But I had already been acting, so I think it was my 5th grade year when I auditioned for like the Christmas play. I was like a little elf. And then the drama teacher was like, damn, we wasted you. So then after that, I was the lead every year. And I was like, yeah. And then I remember, because I never did plays. Like, I haven't done plays. Like, drama in middle school was the only time I performed like in a live audience. Okay. And I only remember one time forgetting my lines. And I panicked. I was like, and I had a monologue, and then I'm like, and so I just started breathing really heavy until like I looked at Santa Claus, and I'm like, Santa, you know, and then like I went on random tangents to figure out what I needed to say, and then I was so nervous.
You fixed it.
But I fixed it, and so my friends afterwards were like, dude, you were so into it, like you had to catch your breath, and I was like, yeah, man, I was so invested. So like it looked like I was just like in the moment.
Yeah. Now, usually I like to like save like talking about the career after, but you started your career like really young.
Yes.
And so it was a trip for me to go back and do some research and be like, holy shit, like I saw you in The Shield.
Yeah.
And it made me feel really old. But yeah, I mean, I've seen a lot of the stuff that you've been in, and I'm not like a person that you might think watched East Los High. Oh. But I watch everything because I like to keep informed, you know? Mm-hmm. So I've watched all of East Los High. I've watched all of Vida, and I've also watched you in McFarland. And what else was it? There was one more. Oh, no. I think that's it.
That you watched.
Yeah, that I watched.
It was, so I started like acting class at 5, if I'm not mistaken. And,
but how did that happen?
So pretty much I came out the womb like performing, and I was crazy. My middle name, and also I love my mom, but also like she gave me the widest name ever. My name is Chelsea Noreen.
Okay.
So she got Noreen from the ending credits of a movie.
Wow.
So that's very like written in the stars.
Yeah.
But I'm like, damn, Mom, why couldn't you name me something else? Like my sister got the name Estivalis Jazmin. And then I got Chelsea Noreen. I'm like, make this make sense. So it was kind of written in the stars, but yeah, it just was very performance-y. Like I would always be doing something crazy. And when my mom really was like, okay, this needs to be looked at, was when we were in Vegas with my family, some cousins, some tias, my godmother, and I decided to pass out in quotations in the middle of the casino. So I'm like, we're just walking, la-di-da-di-da, and then wha-pa, and then I'm just on the floor. And so all of my family's freaking out. My mom was the only one that was like, you little bitch, get up, you know? And I'm like, ugh. And then she's like, Chelsea, get up. And then they're like, oh my God, call security, or what's happening, or what? And my mom's like, Chelsea, get up, they're calling security. And she's like kicking me. And then finally I'm like, oh, what happened? Where am I? And like, I played it off. And when we had gotten back, I guess one of our neighbors, one of our friends was talking about going to a casting call, so we tagged along, and it was one of those bullshit like, oh, $5,000 for blah blah blah. But my mom's very smart. She also studied paralegal at ELAC, and she ended up calling around like Channel 5 or Channel 7, and they were like, "Here's a number for an agency."
Oh wow!
And my mom called the agency. Like that's how. Like again, this was over 20 years ago, and
so instead of giving you like the long route with all these things that are just scamming people, she went straight to
she was like, hey,
agency.
What do I do? And then they're like, oh, here's an agency. And so my mom called the agency, and they were like, get some headshots done, take some classes, and then come back. So I had my first little photo shoot.
Cute.
And then was in acting class, and like again, I was 5. So I didn't know how to read. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and so my mom would like say the lines to me, and that's how I would memorize them. I could read now, but like I'm trying to think of what age do you start reading?
First grade, right?
I don't know what first grade age is.
Yeah, 5.
Okay, so I guess I had just started reading,
reading,
but like my mom had to like work with me with all these other words that I had never like said before, or whatever, for lines. So yeah, like my first acting class, my mom's like, these are your lines, blah, 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 blah. And then I would go, blah, 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 blah.
Cute.
And so we went back to the agency. It was Alvarado agency. Jaime Ferrar, I don't know if you know him.
I know the name.
Yeah. So he was a part of that first, he wasn't like my first agent, which I thought he was, but I was mistaken. It was a woman, and then he ended up like being in charge of me because he had all the like Latinas at the time, the 5 of us or whatever, and just started there. And like I was auditioning, and I booked a commercial in Spanish for like a lawyer. And I remember, or at least my mom tells me this, but I feel like because she's told me it, I could remember it. I could see it.
You make the whole image in your head.
Yeah.
Already,
So I remember at the end of the commercial, the guy's supposed to be like, Todo para los niños. But he kept saying it like, Todo para los niños. And I was like, it's todo para los niños. And then they had to have my mom come in and tell me not to correct him. And I think it was like a few months later, I was auditioning for the lead of a film.
Wow.
And it was funny because they, like when I was younger, they had to like have my mom come in like, have my mom come in and like handle me. Because one of the auditions, one of the callbacks that I did for this movie, No Turning Back, that I ended up booking, they asked me if I would cut my hair. And I was like, no. And they're like, but you know, you would have to cut your hair if you got the part. And I'm like, no. So then they're like, excuse me, Yolanda, can you come and talk to her? And then like me and my mom had a conversation, and I'm like, but I don't want to cut my hair. And then I was like, fine. So then I said, yeah, I'll cut my hair. And I ended up booking that movie.
How drastic was the cut?
It was a bowl cut. I'm not even kidding.
For a 5-year-old Latina girl, that's not.
Well, at that point I was 6.
Okay.
I think when I booked it, I was 6. But while we were filming, I had just turned 7, or was turning 7. I had a birthday.
So
if I'm not mistaken.
Your first feature was at 6 years old.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, and so we had like a couple months or a couple weeks of rehearsals. Me with the director, who was also the lead actor, and then my mom saw us in the table read. And then that's when she says like, oh, that's when I realized this was going to be your career. Like at first she thought it was going to be like a hobby. But then seeing me in that table read, she was like, wow. And filmed that movie and really just learned so much being a kid. There's a scene in the movie where he's supposed to have me in like a bag. And I was actually in the bag. Like, I feel like now that probably wouldn't have been the case, like safety precautions, you know? But I was legit.
It depends on
like,
the budget of the movie.
Yeah, right? Like, but I was legit in the bag. And then like, all of a sudden, like I move, and then the cops are like, what's going on in the bag? And then all of a sudden I'm like, Papi. And I'm like, climbing out of the bag. Oh, it was hilarious. I need to watch it. I don't even know where it is right now.
What is it called?
No Turning Back.
No Turning Back.
Yeah, it was an independent film. We won we tied with another movie, which I can't remember right now, for Best Independent Film in 2001 for the Alma Awards.
Wow.
And it was,
2001. I'm trying to remember because I went to 2 Alma Awards. I'm just trying to remember if
it was back in the day or more recently.
It was 2001.
Well, because there was some more recently. I think the last one was maybe like 2015 or 2013 or somewhere around there. Because it like went away for a few years and then it came back for a few years and then now it's gone.
Yeah. It's so the Alma Awards are completely gone.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I haven't been for years.
Oh, that sucks.
The only awards that we really have is the Imagen Awards.
Imagen, yeah.
Yeah.
So you've been doing this like parade of, I mean, like seriously, like interviews, shows. I mean, these kind of award shows and little award shows here and bigger award shows there, and just constant like media your entire life.
Yes. Well, luckily not my entire life, because I was lucky enough to work, but I was never a regular, like a series regular on a show.
Oh, okay.
So I still grew up in regular public schools, graduated from regular high school. Like, so I had the kind of, I always say like I'm Hannah Montana, and I had the best of both worlds.
That's good.
Because I was able to have my normal childhood, but then work once a month on a show or something. And so it really wasn't until Vida that it was really like continuous work, and then the whole press aspect of it, and the FYC and the upfront this and the blah blah blah, all that, where it was like really crazy. But it's definitely an experience. Like even like I was telling my sister in the car right now, I was like, even the golf tournament, which was a charity thing, is networking. That's how we're here today. You know what I mean? Like it's all part of the business. So like you're always kind of always working.
Yeah.
But not, because you get to have fun while you do it.
Yeah, I mean, it's kicking back, but it's work.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's even in that day I was there working too. Like,
Yeah.
everybody's
working.
Martin, we weren't even gonna play, but he's like, I still want to go because it's work, and it is important to connect, and it is important to keep.
Especially with the Latino community, like the Latino community in Hollywood, or the Latinx or Latina community in Hollywood is so small. We all know each other in some degree, in some way.
Yeah.
And it's really great that we get to meet new people. Like when I booked Vida, I swear I was gonna know everybody that got cast, and I didn't know a single person. And I was like, who are these people? Like, where have they been? Like, I thought I knew everybody. And then my love interest, that's played by Ramses, ended up being the only person that I knew.
Oh, okay.
And I technically knew him through other people, but I had briefly like, oh, hey, hi, bye, you know, very briefly. But I'm like, oh, I know Ramses. Like, I know you. I know one. But it just showed that, like, as small as I think this community is, we are bigger than we thought. Yeah. And now I'm like, now I can say, okay, I think I know everybody. Like, I think I do. Like, I'm more secure.
Well, I think there's constantly like new circles being built and new circles being built and new circles being made. And I mean, it's one of those things that we have to continue to grow and continue to support each other and our projects, you know, continually, so that the projects continue to keep growing. But
yeah, speaking of that, have you seen Gordita Chronicles?
No.
Okay, it is adorable. That little girl, I don't even know her name, but the little lead of Gordita Chronicles, Gordita Cuckoo, oh, phenomenal.
What is this on? I haven't even heard of it.
It's on HBO Max. So Zoe Saldana, Eva Longoria are like executive producers of the show about a Dominican family that moves from the DR to Miami. Okay. And their experience of the American dream. And it really follows this little girl, Gordita Cuckoo, that also learns that gordita is not a nice thing in English. It's mean. When it was like such an term of endearment,
when
you know?
you say it in Spanish, but when you say it in English.
Yeah, fatso. Like, oh my God, there's this scene, this little girl kills me. Like, some football player bumps in her, and he's like, watch it, fatso. And she's like, oh no, my name's not fatso, it's cuckoo. And then this other little kid's like, gordita is fatso in English, so you're gordita. Ouch. And then she's like, her face changes, and then she picks up the football that the football player dropped, and he goes to like, oh, you're gonna give it to me, and then she throws it like behind her head, and she's like, and she gives him a face, and it was like, oh, I'm like, can we have that energy for the rest of 2022? Like, oh my God, it's amazing. So that's definitely Gordita Chronicles, HBO Max, definitely worth watching. Yeah. Yes. I try to watch as much as I can, specifically like supporting Latinos in Hollywood.
Yeah, it's important. I also try to watch a lot of theater out here too. I mean, all the time, if you ever get a chance.
No, I don't. Honestly, I didn't go to my first play until like 2019.
Wow.
Like legit.
Wow.
So I'm really.
What play was it? Ni te acuerdas.
No, I know. It was like the bunny something. Some people that I was in acting class with were putting it up, and so I went. And then I just went. The last play that I saw was like 6 months ago, I think.
Yeah.
Ascension, it was in Atwater Village.
Oh, okay.
My friend Karen was in that. So yeah, I think I've seen like 5 plays in my life in the last 5 years.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of Latino theater too that like, I mean, theater struggles a lot with like audiences. Like, it really needs audiences. It's hard to get people to go see theater all the time. It's harder. It's hard to get sometimes people to see movies, but it's really hard to get people to come out to the theater and like spend time with it. But yeah, try to promote that if you can.
Yeah. If I know about stuff, I will.
Yeah, I'll send you stuff.
Yeah.
So, let's see. You went to high school in Montebello.
Yeah.
And then you did a little bit of college?
So let me tell you what had happened.
What happened was...
So family issues were happening in June when I graduated, when I was supposed to like apply for my classes.
What year was this?
2011.
Okay.
So I was planning on going to ELAC, but I ended up moving out of my house for a while, so I didn't file the paperwork that I needed to file. So I had to wait until the week of to get pink slips. And the problem was, like, it was like the world against me. The weekend before school was gonna start, damn it, I talk with my hands and this is hard.
I'm sorry.
I'm also because I'm short. So the weekend before school was supposed to start and I was supposed to go and get all my pink slips, I went to a party and I drank, and I'm a very responsible person, so I didn't drink and drive, so I slept on the floor somewhere. And I woke up with like 6 spider bites where like I had to go to the hospital on Sunday, and then they gave me medication that I could not be in the sun. So I literally couldn't go until like Thursday to ELAC to try to get a pink slip. And I got one class at like 7 a.m. And I'm like, this is stupid. So like I went like the first day I got my little pink slip, and then I was going the next week. And then, so technically I think I only took 2 classes. So the next week that I had like a full class, the teacher was talking about a test that was happening in 2 weeks. And then I was like, oh, I'm actually gonna be out of town for work. Like, can I reschedule this? And the teacher's like, no. And I'm like, but it's work. Like, this is already planned. Like, I'm telling you right now. And then she was like, I don't even know if it was a he or she, but in my mind, she was like, no. And I was like, well, fuck you then. So then I left, and it was one class, you know? So I technically took 3 classes or 2 classes at ELAC, and I was there for like a week.
That's good.
Hey,
so you can always say some college, you know?
I'm like, some college, the beginning of. But you know, when I graduated,
I want to go back real quick to the fucking spider bites. What happened? And did you get any superpowers?
No, I did not get
8 spider
superpowers.
bites is crazy.
No, I have bad reactions to any bites, whether it's bug bites, like mosquito or spiders or whatever. I have bad reaction to them. So as soon as I see, ooh, I got a bite, I like put some ointment on it. I pop like 2 Benadryl and I knock the fuck out because I'm like, because like they'll get big, like it's not even funny. That's why I'm telling you, I had like 6 of them, so I had to go to the hospital, and they gave me a shot in my butt. And then also, I think that was the first time I got a shot in my butt. So I literally pulled down my entire underwear and like sweats.
You don't have to.
And I didn't know that, so my butt is hanging out, and this doctor comes in and shoots my butt, and then I'm like, that shit was up here. And then I'm like, Mom, why didn't you tell me nothing? So, yeah, I'm a little, you know, now I know, just a little boop.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, I once got attacked by bees and had 7 bee stings.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I was 7
Can
years
I ask,
old.
where were they?
My uncle had...
No, where were the bee stings on your body?
Oh, I don't remember.
Oh, okay.
I just remember there was 7 and I was 7.
Sorry, it's just, I just watched Jackass Forever, so I have a visual of all the bee stings on Steve-O's penis, so I was like, where did you, what were you doing?
I wasn't running around without pants on.
Oh my God. But no, but I was going to say that when I graduated high school, I had a movie come out that month called A Better Life that was actually nominated. Yeah, that was nominated for
that too, of course.
Best Actor for Demian Bichir for the Oscars. So I had been working with a publicist. I was doing a lot of events and stuff. So the fact that I didn't go to college is like, it's fine. I had some momentum going. So that's
like,
what I say.
I'm good.
I'm good. Forget you, college. But like I had friends that played on the football team, so I still went to some of the games.
At East Valley College.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. And they were the football team was pretty brand new at that point, I think, because they didn't have it when I was there. Anyway,
Yeah, I get they must have been, but
whole nother story. So did you study acting though? Did you take? No, just all fucking you. Like that's badass. So I mean,
I did take acting class. Like again, like I said, as a kid, I took acting class for at least like a year or two, if I can recall. And then I took it again when I was like 15, 16. And then I took classes again 2017. But that's when I was a little bit more serious. So like, again, a lot of it is like my natural instincts and my mom kind of coaching me. And I did go to certain coaches over the years, but I always use a substitution method. I just didn't know I was using the substitution method. Because my mom would be like, okay, be sad, think that, you know, this and this. Or like, oh, pretend like you're mad, like you're arguing with your sister. And oh, pretend like this. And then I'm like, you know? So I always connected it with myself.
Got it.
And then when I got older, I realized, oh, that's an acting method. It's a substitution method. So in 2017, I studied with Ivana Chubbuck at the Ivana Chubbuck studio. And she has a book called The Power of the Actor, which is a breakdown of like the 12 steps that you do per scene or per film. And then you let it go. And so I did some of those things already. And then when I was with her, and my first teacher was Michael Monks, who's also an actor as well. He was helping me like learn that and learn how to like add this inner monologue here, or like, so even if it was like a scene where it's like a date night with your boyfriend or the guy you're seeing, you know, if the objective is like to get you to love me, it's like, well, who would you use? I don't have a great relationship with my dad, so I use my dad. So even though it's like a romantic love, underneath it is just a normal wanting love.
There's a need,
Yeah, exactly.
You need to have that need and that want, right?
Yeah, which is deeper, which is what I say, like when I see certain actors, I'm like, oh, I don't see anything behind it. Like I could see like, oh, I'm acting happy, but I don't see it. That's the thing. Look, I love Grey's Anatomy, and I will love Grey's Anatomy till the day I die. And Patrick Dempsey, that's what made him so amazing and why all the girls fell in love with him. It wasn't his hair, it wasn't his smile, it was his eyes. Like you could see you could see all the pain he was going through. Like I'm rewatching it right now, and he just found out Meredith, this is when he got back with his wife, which I don't even know if you know any of this. But yeah, so McDreamy and Meredith were together, but then his wife came back, and so he stayed with the wife because he was a good dude and trying to take her back. And then him and Meredith were still friends. And then she told him, oh yeah, I slept with George, which was one of her friends. And his reaction was so small. But she's like, okay, if I'm going to tell you this, you have to react like a friend, not like a not friend. And so he was kind of like if there was that punch to the gut, but like, let me, okay, all right. And then he gave her advice. But you saw all that happening.
Credit to the camera and the director too. So.
No, but honestly.
No, it's his eyes too.
It's his eyes. So, I was like, it's his eyes. But also you can have a bad director and still have a great project, because the editor can make or break a movie. And then again, you can have a great director and bad actors, and it's not going to be good. You know what I mean? Like the actor has to have it, you know, like I've also said this, and other people have said it, where like, sometimes a director gives you a note and you're like, but this doesn't work with the character. So then you don't do it. You know what I mean? Like, and then you're just like, but then you play it off and you're like, that was what you wanted, right? And then they're like, yeah, that was great. You know what I mean? But like, for us, again, whether it's a guest star or a series regular or a lead in a film or a supporting, if you do your homework, you know the character inside and out. So like, it depends what the note is from the director, or that it's like, but wait a second, that doesn't like make sense, or what? Like, and again, sometimes they have their vision of something, but like you, at least for me, I always want to stay true to the character as much as possible.
But one of the like simplest notes, like speaking on like what's in their eyes is like what I tell friends that are like, they want to try acting for the first time, or they're shooting something and they're like, what do I do? What do I do? It's like, it's really important that you just look like you're thinking. So whatever it is, even if you think like, you know, I left the fucking beans on, you know, or something like that.
Well, it's like friends said, they taught, Joey learned soap opera acting, which is to try to divide like 105 by 2 or something. And then he's like, when I forget a line, I'm just like,
105 divided by 2. That's a tough one.
Blah, 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 blah. And then he's like, and then I remember the line and then I say it or something, you know what I mean? Like just some random shit. So there is that, right? But I think even I wouldn't say it's just about thinking, but it's about being in the scene. Because if you're talking to me about something and I'm thinking about, oh man, you know, the Lakers aren't in the playoffs, man, that sucks, blah, blah, blah. It's a different vibe than like you're pouring your heart out to me and I'm hearing you and I'm just like, oh fuck, am I ready to commit to this or am I not? You know what I mean? Like it's different vibes. And that's why, again, you can tell in the eyes. And I feel like Patrick Dempsey was always in it. And that's why we loved him. And then that's why you see some actors and you're like, yeah, they're good, but like they don't move me. You know what I mean? Like, and I think it's that, like you have to feel it. Like,
yeah. I love it.
Yeah. But so, yeah, I technically took acting classes off and on. Like I recently just took acting classes for a few months in North Hollywood with this coach Alice, which I don't even remember her last name. But my brother from Vida, Carlos, had recommended her to me. And I wanted to try something different. But, you know, we balling on a budget, so I had to, like, take a break. But I think for me, the biggest thing was, like, connecting to the Ivana Chubbuck method and really, like, honestly, to me, the Ivana Chubbuck method and the technique with her was, like, therapy. It, like, opened up a lot of wounds and, like, scars that I was hiding. And, like, I legit...
The substitution.
Yeah. Because it's also like you have to figure out what triggers you the most or what's like the best choice, what makes you feel stronger feelings, right? Like if it's like, oh yeah, like I'm mad, my neighbor parked in my spot, or like, oh, I'm mad, my boyfriend cheated on me with my best friend. They're anger, but they're different, and like one means more than the other.
Fucking very different.
Yo,
angers.
I'm watching Grey's Anatomy right now where...
Are they still have episodes?
They are still on, yes.
Shit, I didn't know that.
It just got renewed.
Oh, wow.
But
so speaking of Grey's Anatomy and doctor shows too, you were also on ER.
Yes.
Dude.
I know.
That's badass.
I was a little baby.
Wow.
And the funny thing is, I was a probably weirdest kid because at 7 or 8 when I did it, I was actually watching ER. I used to watch it with my mom.
That's funny.
So I was so excited to like meet George Clooney, and I was so nervous to meet Dr. Weaver.
Wow.
And then George Clooney left, and Dr. Weaver was the nicest person.
So why do you call George Clooney by his real name and Dr. Weaver by his...
Because Dr. Weaver was scary. So it's like, oh no, Dr. Weaver. You know what I mean? Like it was, yeah. And then also I don't remember George Clooney's doctor name.
I don't know if anybody does that.
I don't know. And like now I want to IMDb it because I have that one track mind of like, I need to know something. But yeah, the actress, I don't even remember her name either. I'm bad with names sometimes. Like I'm really good with faces.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I'm bad at both, so that's horrible.
You're a dork. But no, I was terrified to meet Dr. Weaver.
Yeah.
And then I met her. And
that was at Paramount Studios, right? Was it?
I don't know. I was 7.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
You know what's interesting though, which I didn't know, is because the show's set in Chicago, and they use potatoes to make it look like it was snowing. Like it was potatoes.
What do you mean?
That were falling.
Like real potatoes?
Yes.
Like whole potatoes?
Not whole potatoes. Like they would like
shaved potatoes.
Shaved potatoes was their snow.
Like hash browns.
Very small hash browns. But
That's
yes.
funny.
Yeah, but my mom mentioned that to me. She's like, yeah, they use potatoes. And I was like, interesting.
And they just dry it up and just like,
I have no idea. But I just know it was potatoes.
Oh, what a trip.
Yeah. But yeah, that was such a fun experience. I actually showed my boyfriend my episode like just a few months ago. And he was like, oh my God. Like, and I still had the bowl cut because I had cut my hair for the movie. So it was still kind of growing out at that point. But yeah, there's a dramatic moment where pretty much Dr. Weaver is the reason why my mom dies in the episode. And then she realizes it's her fault and she feels guilty. So when she's walking out, she's talking to
Dr. Weaver killed your mom. That's why you still have memories of like.
Yeah.
That's why you
Dr.
still
Weaver
remember
killed
that.
my mom. Because there's a dramatic moment where like
You could use that.
I
in the
like
next-
look at the camera and then I open my eyes and I'm supposed to be looking at her. And that was the end of my demo reel for years because it was so dramatic. It was like, like, you know what I mean? Like, oh man, I can't even redo it because it was a moment. But yeah, so I remember that.
Yeah. What do you think are like your favorite type of roles? I know that recently you've been cast a lot as like the badass, you know?
Because I am.
Huh?
No, honestly, see, this is a thing that I think a lot of people get. As actors, we don't choose what we audition for, really. Like, technically, we could turn down stuff, but if we really want something, like, they could just tell us, no, you can't audition for it. So, like, honestly, I
Your
audition for
agent
everything.
will tell you you can't
No.
audition for it.
Like, the agent and the manager could push me and submit me,
Yeah.
but the casting director could reject
no,
it.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I technically get rejected every day, and I just don't know
Sure,
it.
yeah.
You know? But... So I audition for everything. Like very rarely do I turn down auditions. Because one, since I'm not working, that's my playtime. That's what I get to do.
That's the work.
Yeah, that's the work. But right now we're in a beautiful place where they're writing a lot of different characters and types of characters for Latinas that I can audition for. So I love badass female roles. And I think roles. And I think that I get those a lot because I am naturally that. I'm a very strong woman. But for Latinos specifically, there's always been these little pockets, right? Where it was like the cholo or the gardener or the janitor or the maid or the sexy mistress or the chola. Like that was kind of it. But now there's so much more than that. So like that's why I always booked that before because that's all that was available. But now there's so many more opportunities. Like even with Vida, I have to like argue with people because they're like, oh, you're the chola from Vida. And I'm like, I am an activist. I'm not a chola. I'm not a chola. Oh, you're the chola. And it's again, for me, it's...
But you had a bandana.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or you had the hoops or the lipstick. And this is from Raza telling me you're a chola. And I'm like, really? Yeah. You know chola. You gonna tell me? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
but they also don't know that world of the activist.
True.
So.
But so I would argue with people. I'm like, I'm not a chola, damn it. Like, but then they would make me bring my chola out to defend myself. Like, fuck you, I ain't a fucking chola, right? And then I'm like,
tie your hair in a
yeah, oh
ponytail.
my god. But
Dude.
but so now there's way more opportunities. But like my dream role, I have like two. One is I would love to do a procedural like Mariska Hargitay in SVU. Law and Order SVU, because she's had such a journey. And again, that show's been on for like 23 years now. She's a child of rape. She had an alcoholic mother that died.
keep writing
She's
shit for
been
her.
through all this stuff. Now she has a kid, and then she got tortured and kidnapped, and she survived all these things. Like, so I love the idea of that. And then again, now she's captain. So she went from being a detective to a captain. And so I love that sort of badass
character
female role.
growth and
Yeah,
continue.
exactly. And then the other thing that I really, really want to do is to play like a dual personality, like serial killer. Like I almost want to be like a housewife, like, here,
Dexterra.
husband, here's your water. And then like, okay, I'm going to go to work. And then like I go, like I leave, but I don't leave. And I go downstairs to a basement and I have like a body there and I'm chopping it up. And I want that. But what I really, really want is that on camera moment when like you see almost the light go out of my eyes. Where it goes from like, hi to like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
that
yeah.
for me, like when you get to see those moments on camera, where the camera's just in your face, you can't deny it. You can't fake it. You have to actually do
Go
it.
there,
You know what I mean? Because then again, the camera could be like, okay, husband, great. And then cut to the body and then cut to your face. And you're like, but like, I want that moment. Like whenever I get the part, I'm gonna be like, yo, y'all better give me this moment of like,
Yeah.
like going from like happy to crazy.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
What is it, that thing that makes us snap, and you have to go there in your head
and to do that, because again, I could play Get a Little Mexican all day because I am one, you know what I mean? But like to play something that I don't understand and to dive into that world and to push myself. I recently booked a short film that I'm gonna play a mother that has drug abuse issues and alcoholism, and she's very abusive to her kids. So I was like, ooh, playtime. Ooh. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm really excited to get to do that.
Yeah, you get to do like emotions and shit that you don't typically get to do.
Yeah, well, not even
Or
emotions,
even, like,
but
in
even
real
just like
life.
thought process. You know what I mean? Like when I was breaking down the character, it's kind of like, oh, this woman isn't. She, again, you can't judge your character. She's not the villain in her mind, right? It's like her fucking kids are fucking with her. Her husband's cheating on her. She knows it. She's on meth, so she's all paranoid. There's fucking hoes in the attic. There's hoes in the attic. You know what I mean? Like
Hoes?
Hoes.
Oh.
Yeah, because the husband's cheating on her with hoes, and the hoes are in the attic.
Wait, is that for real?
That's in this script.
Oh, I
yeah.
thought you meant holes.
No,
There's
not,
really fucking
no,
holes
not
in the
Shia
attic.
LaBeouf digging digging oh.
So
No.
you really did say hoes.
Well, I don't say
shit.
hoes, but that's her mindset, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like her
That's
mindset is like,
crazy,
there's fucking
dude.
hoes here. There's fucking hoes. I know that. I can hear them. You know what I mean? Like, that was my inner monologue.
Yeah. I get
So I'm
it,
really
I get
excited
it.
to get to do this.
And who's doing this?
It's a project with Macro, actually,
Oh, I love
and
Macro,
TikTok.
yeah. Oh, cool. Wow.
Yeah, they gave money to people of color directors and writers to put projects together.
Yeah.
And then casting reached out to me. I know the casting director, Alan Luna, and he was like, "Yo, Charles, I don't know how you feel about this, but what do you think?" And I'm like, "Oh my God, tell me more."
Yeah.
I was like, "Say less." Yeah, so I'm really excited. We were supposed to film it a few weeks ago, but the location ended up having an issue, so it got postponed. So I'm hoping we get to do it soon, because I want to be crazy.
I'm sure you have a lot of fun stuff coming ahead of you. I mean, there should be a ton of work heading your
Well,
way.
see, this is the problem. That's what people assume.
Yeah.
And like,
I know it's hard, and I wanted to get into that too. Like, it feels like, oh, well, she was on Vida, and she was like, it's going to boom, blow up. But there's still a lot of work that needs to be done for work to continue.
yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Well, it's one thing. So like, technically right now I'm developing a show. Me and my best friend Noemi Gonzalez, who's most known as Suzette in Selena the series.
Okay.
We are developing a show with Cedar Park Entertainment, which is David Ayer and Chris
Cedar
Long's
Park.
company. And they connected us with our amazing writer, Paloma Rojas, she's a goddess. She was godsend. So we've been developing this show for almost 2 years now. And so our next step right now is looking for a showrunner and then to go out and pitch it. And then hopefully somebody buys it and then I get to work. And I would also be like executive producer and like, so I'm really excited about that. So that's something that I don't know if that's going to happen in 6 months or in a year or in another 2 years. Like with development, it's a who knows thing.
And you've produced before.
I've dabbled in producing, yes. I was an associate producer on an indie film that I did called Murder in the Woods. And I also was a producer on like 6 sizzle reels that I did that we were trying to like sell shows. So like I've dabbled in it, but I feel like I live with the producer hat on because producers are just problem solvers. And I'm also a Latina that thinks I know everything. So I can solve 98% of the problems that are in front of me.
I love that.
So I kind of just live with the producer hat on. And it's in my everyday life. And I have to tell my friends or my boyfriend or my family, like, well, sorry, but like, this is what you could do. You know what I mean? Like, and it's something that I'm trying to learn to like put some boundaries up and not do it in every situation. But I'm just like, I can see the solution.
Yeah.
Like, here's the solution.
Yeah.
Just go right there.
Stop suffering.
Yeah, or just like, oh, this makes it so much easier. You don't have to stress out. It's this or it's that. But I do have to like one of the things that because I'm in therapy also, I advocate for therapy, that I've learned in therapy is also like, what if they don't want your help? Or what if they don't want your advice?
Oh, okay.
Like, so ask them, hey, do you want my input on this? Or, I can see some options. Do you want me to tell you or do you want me to leave it alone? Do you just want to vent to me? Because I automatically am like, oh, I got you. Blah, 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 blah. And then they're like, well, fuck you, bitch. I didn't want your opinion. And then I'm like, oh, but you just do it. You know what I mean? Like, that's my thought process.
Do it anyway.
But, so I'm learning to like maybe ask before I give my opinion, but it's very hard. But again, I just call that producer mentality, and my producer hat stays on.
Boss lady.
Boss lady vibes.
It's dope. I
Yeah.
love it.
It's crazy. It's a journey.
So what has been your experience with this show that you're working on now? trying to like make happen? What are maybe some hurdles or things that people need to know about when putting the show together? I mean, because there's a lot of work being produced right now, and a lot of people are like, oh, there's a lot of people want to make stuff, but not everybody knows like the process it takes to really do stuff in Hollywood.
Well, the interesting thing for us, the biggest setback that we've had so far was legal. There were like legal was backed up to like set our contracts up. So that took like 10 months. Wow. Yeah. Of just waiting for legal. Because again, this is a still in but post-pandemic kind of world where now all of a sudden things are happening. So these people are bombarded with stuff, and ours wasn't a priority because it wasn't to get into production or to do that. So we were kind of left on the back burner. And so that was honestly the hardest part. Like, not even the negotiation of the contract. It was just, okay, once this is approved, then legal has to approve it, and then we sign it. And then it was like, cricket. And like me, Noemi, Paloma were like, hey, have you heard anything? What's going on? Oh, I don't know. Okay. And then finally it was like, excuse me, hello. And then that's when our producer Shane was like, yo, straight up, like, I'm so sorry. Like, legal is just so backed up. And like, and I'm like, no, it's fine. Because also their legal department also works with like other companies.
I was going to say, Macro has a ton of things.
No, so this isn't with Macro. No, that was a short. This is with Cedar Park Entertainment.
Oh, okay.
That did Tax Collector.
Oh, yeah. Tax Collector. That's another one that I saw. That's right.
Yeah.
See, my notes failed me.
Failed you. It's okay. But so it was really beautiful because, again, David Ayer is a brilliant man. And so he had us rehearsing before we started filming.
Oh, yeah.
So some of the main cast rehearsed for like 3 months. And
wow.
I came in 3 weeks before, and then Noemi came in the last 2 weeks. And so one day we were like hanging out after a rehearsal, and me and Noemi are just shooting the shit. We've been friends for like 10 years now. And the producer, Chris Long, was like, y'all need to do something. Like, this is a show. This is a podcast. Like, we could sell this. So we actually put together a pitch for a podcast. We were shopping it around. We were actually going to have a deal with Podcast One, but then they wanted too much ownership, or they wanted a majority ownership, so then it didn't happen. So one day during the pandemic, I was binge watching Psych with James Roday Rodriguez and Dwelle Hill.
I've seen that.
Okay, yes. It's very funny. So I was super high, and I called up my girl Noemi, and I was like, yo, like, what if we did something like this where you and I were like solving crimes? And she was like, yo, that's dope. So literally like that night we started like texting each other certain things. And then we're like, you know what, let's put this in an email instead. So we have like records. Records. And then literally like maybe 2 weeks had passed. We had been coming up with certain ideas. We asked one of our friends, Tennessee, that's a writer, to help us out on how we should start. And what we should focus on. And then like 2 weeks later, David Ayer texted me and was like, hey, who are some dope ass Latinx writers? So I started sending him lists of names, and I'm like, oh, I want these people for this cop movie, or these people for this show, or da-da-da. And then, oh, this is for me and Noemi. And then he's like, what's the show with you and Noemi? And then I was like, it's like Psych meets SVU. Nice. And then he's like, you need to do that. Yeah. And like, I'm imagining it because it was a text message, but I could hear his face being like, you need to do that. And then the next day, I was at home and I get a call and it's like, hi, I have Chris Long on the line for you. And I'm like, sure. And then I'm like, what's up, Chris? How are you doing? He's like, hey, what's going on? So David was telling me about the show with you and Noemi. We would love to work with you, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, hold on, time out. I was like, there's not a show. There's an idea. Yeah. We have a paragraph maybe. Let's do it. And he's like, cool, well, we can help you develop it. Like, we develop. And then I'm like, okay, time out. I was like, Noemi is literally on set filming Selena in Mexico. Like, let me call her, see when she has time so we could schedule a meeting. Like, I can't say yes. Yeah. So I called Noemi, and she luckily had like 2 days off the next week. So then we were able to schedule the meeting. We went in, and we pretty much had typed up like a page of like a one sheet of like, this is our idea for the show. And they were like, yo, we love it. We would love to work with you. They brought in the TV people because, again, like David mainly does film. So it was like different people that came in the meeting. We met, we connected. Noemi joined in on like Blue Jeans or like Zoom sort of thing. And we left the meeting, and he was like, yeah, let us know what you want to do, but we'd love to work with you. So me and Noemi talked, and we're like, yeah, this is dope. This is great. And we started working with them, and then we were looking for the writer. We found our writer, Paloma, and then she's helped us just mold this entire world. It's so much more than I could have imagined or Noemi could have imagined, you know? And it's like, that's why you're a writer, bro. Like, you're amazing, you know? And so now we were finalized, before we like finalized kind of like the pitch sort of thing, that's when it was like, okay, legal and all that stuff happened. And then so we waited for that. And then I think we have like 14 pages of kind of like what the first season would look like, what the character arcs are going to be, what our vision is and all that. And now we are looking for a showrunner so that we could connect with, finalize a pitch, and then go out to pitch. So it's a whole thing. I think the biggest thing that my friend Tennessee told me, which I think is good advice for anybody that's developing, is understand that your baby is going to change. But it's still your baby, you know? It's like what they say. It's like what they say about eyebrows. They're sisters. They're not twins. They're sisters, you know? So if I was just like, no, I want to keep, this is what my vision is, it would not be what it is today.
But are there things that you fight for? Are there things that you can fight for? Or is it a complete like, all right, let's just roll with it?
No. It's, again, there's certain things that me and Noemi talked about that are like hard norths, right? Like, this is what we're staying on this path. But Cedar Park and Paloma have been so amazing that we haven't had a fight for anything. Like, we just say like, no, we want to focus on this, or this is our true north. And they're like, cool, like that sounds great. You know what I mean? Like, cause I think Cedar Park, Chris and David know what me and Noemi have is unique, and it's beautiful because we actually have a friendship. And Paloma also, as a Latina, a woman, like, she knows and she gets where we're coming from in our language and what we mean when we're saying something. So it's been amazing. So yeah, luckily, I think, you know, when it comes to like the buyers and stuff like that, then things might change. We might have to give a little and, you know, get a little or something. But luckily it hasn't had to be anything drastic. So
do you guys have a name for it?
No, we don't.
Work in progress?
Yeah, I know.
That sounds
like
really exciting, dude.
I'm like, yeah, I'm so excited. It's so nerve-wracking, but it's also amazing. But I'm also like, I want to be on set already. Like, can we just do this now? Yeah. But yeah, so like that's been something that's amazing. But oddly enough, it doesn't feel like work. When I have these conference calls or I'm looking at these emails or I'm doing my notes, like it doesn't feel like work. Yeah. So I still miss the work of like an audition. Like for me, work is getting an audition, working on my lines, doing the self-tape. And then when you get to set. And so like this is work, but it doesn't feel like it. So I still feel like, I'm a crackhead, I need to get on set.
Well, it's the prep, you know, like when you're cooking, you got to slice up all the stuff first. And
but I've just never done that, you know what I mean? Like to this extent, you know what I mean? Like even when I dabbled in producing before, it was like the project was already done or whatever, you know what I mean? Like
this is creating.
Yeah. So it's a whole different
What a journey.
thing. Yeah. But I'm excited. So hopefully it'll be coming to a TV near you soon.
Yeah. As long as these shows take, I mean, even once you get a green light, it's still going to be like another year before it.
Probably, yeah. Because again, I think best case scenario, if we find our showrunner and we sell it by January and then the writer's room starts, it'd probably be June when we're filming. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, and that's best case scenario.
Yeah. I want to talk just a little bit about your experience in Vida. I know that it was like your biggest show that you've been on, and it's the show that's giving you the most visibility, or like people remember your name now because like even since that show, like I started following, well, there's Instagram now. There wasn't Instagram when you were 5, but I've been following you on Instagram for a while because of that show. And what has it meant for you? I mean, this is like a generic question almost, but like what has it meant for you in your career to have been a part of that show?
It's surreal because, again, I've been acting my whole life, you know what I mean? And it was the first time being on a set with an all-brown writer's room, all-brown cast, and even on set, super shout out to Tanya Saracho. Even on set, like, there was so many people of color or queer people. Like every department head was either a woman, a person of color, or queer.
Wow.
That was every department head. You know what I mean? And it just was such a family experience. Like for season 2 and season 3, I lived 5 minutes away from the stages. So I would just show up and just hang out because it was fun.
Because you were there, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, hey, there was a churro man. I'm going to come get a churro. Or like, there's an elote man. You know what I mean? Like they had,
Crafty.
when I say, no, not even crafty. The writers would gift something for every episode. And they're a bunch of brown people, so they give us a bunch of brown stuff. And there's like, again, like for the 3rd and final season, we as a cast gifted my favorite taco place, Tacos Don Cuco in East LA. The only place
Where's Don Cuco?
Don Cuco's off of like Federally and Whittier.
Okay.
It's in the parking lot. It's like not like a location, it's a stand.
Okay.
But they're the only place in LA that you can find adobada. Places claim they have adobada, but it's al pastor. It's different. So this is the only place. Sorry, I'm like spitting at you because I'm so.
Okay.
Only place.
I want to shout out Tacos Árabes, which is similar. I think they do the same thing because they do the same thing like adobado, I think. But anyways.
Well, see, the thing
Let's
is,
not
if you
fight
have to
about
think about
tacos.
it, if you have to think about it, then it's not real. Because adobada, they cook on the mesquite grill.
Yeah.
It's not on a little palito like al pastor.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Very different. You would know. Also, adobada is red.
Yeah.
Al pastor is like orange.
Yeah.
Different colors.
Okay.
So the fact that you have to question it.
No.
But I will
win.
check out. Text me this thing, and I'll check it out, and I'll tell you if it's real or not.
Got it.
But from my experience, and I've tried a lot of different taco places, Tacos Don Cuco is the only adobada. So we gifted it to the crew, like for our like last episode, like bye-bye gift. And yo, man, they were talking about it for like a solid week. Everyone was like, oh my God, those tacos and the tortillas are hecho a mano. Like, so it was really beautiful. But I would gain 10 pounds every season.
So
Every season.
I got to work on movie sets for a while. I was doing locations and working with location managers and stuff. And yes, in the beginning, you're like, all the food. But after a while, you're like, fucking have some control because
I learned that
it's a
after the
lot of
3rd
shit.
season. And then we didn't have a 4th season. So I should have learned it before. But yeah, I'm like, shit, my ex-boyfriend was crafty. But I met him on Shameless.
Okay, Shameless. That's another one. Yes. And you worked in the taco place, right?
It was the Shrimp Shack.
Shrimp Shack. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you were
But,
you
yo,
were selling the vape pens.
Yes, I was selling the vape pens. But so crafty, I'm always
crazy.
fucking tight with crafty in general, in any project that I work on. And it's literally like when I started telling people that I started dating my ex, they were like, it makes so much sense because like I love crafty. You know what I mean? Like, but again, it's not
Open
even
his glove compartment and get snacks and shit.
Yo, again, in that relationship, I gained so much weight because he would just bring shit back, and I would be like, nom 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 nom.
That's funny.
But
getting back to
but
to
now I'm
Vida.
just talking about food. But yeah, no, but so Vida, but I was trying to say because they're brown writers, they gave us bomb ass treats. But
Is it still like a momentum thing that still like helps your career in a way?
oh
Is it
yeah,
still-
100%, yeah. And then it's also right now Hulu just dropped the first 2 seasons.
Oh, shit.
Yeah,
Nice.
Vida because of Pride Month.
That's fucking great.
So now it's
Yeah.
having a whole new little life, and
Oh, that's
people are like
awesome.
posting and tagging me and stuff. So that's really beautiful. But it's just, I'm like, I'm getting all emotional.
Do it.
But like, I literally have Vida tatted on my side. Like that was a cast
Wow.
gift from my brother Carlos on the show.
Wow.
And it was like, it meant so much to all of us. And it's more than, a show or money.
Yeah.
It's a family. You know what I mean? Like, I still am super, super tight with my brother. I call him my brother. He's my brother. Like, we've spent holidays together.
That's
you know what I mean? Mish, Meli, Roberta, even like Luis and Karen and Ardian and Jackson. Like, we've all like, you know what I mean? Like, we get to like support Tona and his new show, or Meli and her new movie, and like, you know, Tanya's having a new show that she's creating, and like, it's a family that's never gonna go away. You know what I mean? And that's a very unique experience. You know, you hear about things like even on Shameless, they were talking about negative stuff about, you know, someone that left the show, and it's like, not all the time is it gonna be family. You know what I mean? Like, but with us, it was such a unique experience, and it was so meaningful and powerful that like we're family,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
and I'm just so thankful that Marta Fernandez over at STARZ, it's an executive, was an executive and was able to give us that opportunity. And again, it stems from being on the back of Jane the Virgin, of George Lopez, of Ugly Betty, you know what I mean? Like, that gave us this opportunity. And if you think about it, in the last few years, there's been so many more shows with Latinos in it. Now, again, we still only get 1 season or 2 seasons, you know, but we're at least getting the opportunity. And now the writers that worked on...
It'll continue to grow.
Yeah.
I think every time a little more. I mean,
But
looking
it
at
depends
Michelle
on...
and Melissa and what they're doing, you know,
Yeah.
and what you're going to end up doing. And your show...
No, and it's amazing. But
yeah.
again, the networks also have to value us and give us what we're worth when it comes to budget. Give us what we're worth when it comes to marketing.
Yeah, that's
because again, people
they make
say
you work with crumbs and shit.
Yeah, and it's like there's no marketing behind Gordita Chronicles. A lot of people are like, "What is this?" Like, I posted about it, and like people in Hollywood that are Latinos know about it, but like not a lot of other people know about it.
Yeah.
So it also comes down to like marketing as well. If people don't see it, that they don't know it exists, how are they gonna watch it? You know, and
the hype around it, it means a lot.
yes, exactly. And it's also about watching it the right way. Like, look, I'm that girl that used to have that little box and bootleg all my shit too.
Yeah.
But I don't do that anymore because those numbers count.
Yeah.
Like, there was so many people that I met that are like, oh my God, I watched it, da da da. I was like, oh, thanks for getting the app. Oh, no, girl, I bootleg that. And I'm like, you can't do that. Like, I don't know if that's 100 views, 100,000 views.
Yeah.
Like, but, you know, we get canceled, and not only us, but all shows get canceled because of lack of viewership. You know, so it's like, come on, just
watch the shows on the
$4.99, bro, just 1 month. You know,
and
$8.99.
go to the movies in the first weekend.
Yes, it's so important. It's so important. I know now we got
And like and subscribe. That's really important.
yeah, like and subscribe. It's so important. But you know, right now we had Xochitl Gomez in Doctor Strange playing America Chavez, which is amazing. My boy JR Villarreal is playing Black Scorpion on Disney Channel's Ultraviolet and Black Scorpion. So it's like we have 2 superheroes in 2022 that are Latinos. Like, that's amazing.
Yeah.
You know? So there's a lot of good things happening, and I'm really excited for the future. But yeah, I feel like we were starting in one place, and like I said, I'm gonna fucking talk forever.
No, it's fine.
But you know, that's what I'm saying. Right now, I don't. Aside from the short, I don't have anything else lined up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because there are so many opportunities, but also so many obstacles in the way of those opportunities at the same time. So I hope to work soon.
So it's a trip. Also, like that whole thing of like, you know, waiting for the next thing to happen all the time. And so there's yeah, you've done a lot of stuff, but if you think about it, since you were 6 till now, you know, like what is it, like 1 per year or 2
No,
things per
it
year,
honestly
or?
it depends because okay, if I look back at the 3 years that I did Vida. So the last 2 years, like I said, I have not worked. The last time I worked on an episode of Lucifer that was on Netflix that I filmed in February 2020. But it didn't come out until like September 2021. And that was the last time I was on set. And then I didn't get on set again until March 2022. So it was over 2 years that I wasn't on set. Wow. And like luckily in this time, I've also like recorded an Audible book. I did a play at home back in September 2022 about the suffragette movement. So like I've done some stuff, but going back into like 2019, like if I look at the first year of Vida, I think I had worked on a couple episodes on The Fosters, and then I booked Vida, and I had also done a movie called Thriller that's on Netflix. So that's really what I did in 2018 or 2017. And then 2018, I think I just did Vida and maybe something else, honestly, I don't remember. But then 2019, the first 6 months of the year, I did nothing. And then the month before I was gonna start filming Vida, I shot a short film, I shot a documentary, and then I shot The Tax Collector.
Wow.
In like a month.
Yeah.
And then a week later, I started Vida.
Wow.
And then I finished the year off with Vida. Oh, no, before that. No, yeah. When did I do Shameless? That was 2019. That was 2018, I said, right?
I think so. Yeah, it was 2019.
Okay, but so 2019, damn, now I'm
You're
lost.
gonna have to look at the IMDb.
Yeah, I'm like, oh man, but see, even IMDb doesn't even count
What
because
came
when
first,
it comes
Shameless
out,
or
it's
Vida?
different. Vida came first.
Okay,
so Shameless, the creator John Wells was a fan of Vida. That's how I got the offer for Shameless.
Awesome. So it was a straight up offer. You didn't even have to audition. Oh, that's badass.
I know, and like it was an amazing
Hope
experience.
You get a ton of those.
Oh my god, me too. But that was something where the department head of hair called me one day or messaged me on Instagram, was like, give me your number, I need to call you. And I was like, what's going on? And so I called and I was like, hey, what's going on? And he was like, oh my God, I just had my meeting with John Wells for Animal Kingdom, and he could not stop talking about you, and he loved Vida, so I think you're gonna be on Animal Kingdom. And I was like, oh my God, hell yeah,
great show
woohoo.
too,
And then like 6 months, a year later, when I got this offer for Shameless, I forgot it was the same creator. So I was like, oh great, cool. And then I'm like, it wasn't until I was there on the day and I had like the flowers in my trailer that I'm like, John Wells. Oh wow. And it was like a full like circle moment. But you know, Shameless is also one of the other things I'm most famous for, most known for. You know what I mean? Like the Shameless fans are die-hards and they're amazing. And you know, I get a lot of love that I'm like one of his best girlfriends. And then like, why'd I leave, or why didn't I stay? And then everybody's like, oh no, it's Bonnie was his ride or die, or you know what I mean? Like all these things, you know? And that's been an amazing experience. And that also, I learned a lot even being on that set, even though it was for only 5 episodes, because it was a no side set. So if you know production, on the day you showed up to your trailer and there's a little like this big papers of all the lines for what you're filming that day, what everybody's filming that day. And then you get to look at them before you go on, you know, on set, or you take them with you on set.
Why not?
I think it's a professionalism thing.
Oh.
But like, so good. I took my own sides the first day, and then I saw nobody had them, and then I'm like, okay, I can do this. But like, again, it was more of like a nervous because I've never done it before, right? But like the first episode, I like had them with me, and I was like,
but I wonder why they would do that. I mean, is it just to make sure that you know your lines, or is it to... I don't know. It's just interesting. I've never seen that.
I would think of it from, I guess, almost like a play, right?
Yeah.
You go up, you can't do another take.
No.
You have to do it the way you know what I mean? Like, and so that's one of the things I will say about, now I'm forgetting his name. Bill. Frank, who plays Frank.
The actor.
Willie Macy. Yeah, him. So he directed one of the episodes that I was in.
When you said Bill, I was like...
Yeah, they call him Bill. That's why I was like, Bill. But he directed one of the episodes that I was in, and it was beautiful and insane to watch him set everything up and then be like, okay, so here's where I'm going to say my monologue, and then we go. So I'm like, not only are you directing, you have a monologue, and you're just like, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
To you, it looks easy peasy lemon squeezy, but I'm sure that to him, you know.
Well, but also he's William H. Macy. He's been on the show for how many years? Like he could do it in his sleep. You know what I mean? Like, and that's the beautiful thing of this craft, right? Like you can get good at it, and you can breathe and eat and sleep a character. Where like every time I went back to Madi, like the first season I did all my homework, but every season after that I didn't really have to because I'd already done the homework. I know exactly where I'm coming from. I know exactly what I'm thinking. I know exactly when I'm in this scene or with this character or with that character. So I think it's just easy peasy lemon squeezy for him because he is Frank, you know?
But if you think about it, you still have to do the work. Like you still have to read those lines. You still have to memorize them. So
but I think everybody's
I know what
different.
you're saying.
Yeah. But it's
I get
just
what you're saying, but at the same time, I'm thinking
it's still work. 100%, it's still work.
Oh
yeah, 100%. He still has to do all the work. And again, you're looking at shot lists and all this and all that.
Yeah,
but
that's
it was
that's a whole
it was just such an experience, and they were all so welcoming and so fun. I had a blast with them. I got to go with them to Chicago to film some exteriors out there, which was also dope. So I got to go to the Gallagher house, and I like took a picture, and I was like, I'm at the Gallagher house. Because also I watched so much TV, so I was a fan of Shameless. So I'm like, wait, ew, I'm Carl's love interest, little creeper that blows things up. But I'm like, oh wait, no, that was little Carl, not now Carl. You know what I mean? Like, but that was my first instinct because like I remember him blowing shit up in the microwave and stabbing things and. Frank pretending he had cancer and shaving his head and shit, you know what I mean? Like, And he was super, super fun to work with and super dope.
Legend, bro. Like, seriously.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about.
I was talking about
Bill?
Ethan, but yeah,
Bill,
William
yeah.
H. Macy's a legend.
I'm calling Bill now.
Bill. Yeah, but no, all of them are super, super dope, and I learned so much, and it's, yeah.
Yeah. Now, we are having a great conversation, but I do have to turn it and take us to the end of this.
Okay.
And
See, I told you I was going to
no,
talk
I
my
love
ass
it.
off.
I love it. I didn't want to say anything earlier. I just letting you go. I want to ask if there's anything that we haven't mentioned that you want to mention that you want to put out.
Not really. I'm like just supporting brown talent.
Yeah.
Whether it's on TV, in the movies, artists, musicians. I think it's important. Remember that it's all about money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's all executives see.
I tell people sometimes, just hit play and let it play.
Exactly. Oh,
Like,
I do
those
that all the
numbers
time. I
matter.
do that all the time.
Yeah. And watch movies on the first weekend if you can.
Yes.
Because box office matters on the first weekend.
Box office completely.
Yeah. So if people want to look you up, they can find you on IMDb under your name, Chelsea Rendon. And do you want to give your Instagram?
Yeah, my Instagram and my Twitter. I'm a basic bitch, so it's just at Chelsea Rendon. There's no other Chelsea Rendon, so I got it. And I am verified, so if it's other account, it's not me.
Yeah.
Because there people have like made up accounts, and I'm like, yo, I'm not even that cool yet. Why are you making an account about me?
Just
you know
hackers,
what I mean? Like,
.
But it's just crazy because I feel bad because I had a couple people message me like, oh yeah, like someone was trying to say that they were you, but I get on my live and I talk to my fans. You know what I mean? And again, I'm not J-Lo, so I get like 20 viewers or 10 viewers. So I have little chit chats. And so one of them was like, yo, someone was trying to say that they were you, but I knew it was bullshit because you talked to us on your lives. And so I try to say like, when did you go live last, Chelsea? Because I was talking to you and then they didn't respond. So then I was able to like report it. But it's been a few people. So I am verified on Twitter and on Instagram. So
Good.
if it's anybody else, it's fake.
So at Chelsea.Rendon or
No,
just
just
no
at
dot
Chelsea
at
Rendon.
Chelsea Rendon. Okay. And there is a question that we ask everybody at the end of these shows, and I forgot to ask you about this ahead of time, prep you for it. But so this is the question that we say goodbye with, and it's a simple question, and it's also vague, but your challenge is to try to answer in one sentence.
Ooh, okay.
Right? So all the things that you do, all the magic that you do in front of the camera, all the amazing experiences you've had, and all the work that you put out. If a being from another planet came and asked you this question, how would you answer? If they just said, Chelsea Rendon, how do you do it?
I would say it's in my blood.
It's in my blood.
I'm telling you, I came out the womb doing it.
Answer.
You know what I mean? Like, it's in my blood.
Perfect. Well, thank you very much. We really, really appreciate you coming out here, and we hope to see a lot more of you.
Thank
and
you.
Kick ass.